So, what if the biggest threat to your digital life wasn't some super hacker in a dark room, but your own habits? Today we're going to break down something called the architecture of digital predictability and how you can be completely, and I mean completely understood without ever being compromised.
And this quote right here, it's really the heart of the puzzle we're going to unpack. It suggests that the real vulnerability isn't some complex piece of code. It's the simple, everyday patterns of our lives. So what exactly makes being predictable such a powerful tool for other people? All right, so let's dive into the problem itself. First things first, you gotta forget those Hollywood-style cyber attacks. You know, the frantic typing and I'm in stuff. For most of us, the real risk is way, way quieter. It's how the patterns of our lives can be pieced together from things we just share freely, every single day. That picture of your morning coffee, a check-in at the gym, or a random comment on a news article.
Okay, so that leads to a really big question, right? If it's not some brute force hack, what's the tool that actually funnels all those scattered digital breadcrumbs into one single coherent profile of you?
Well, the answer is a discipline known as OSINT, which stands for Open Source Intelligence. And we're going to define what that means, and just as importantly, what it doesn't mean.
So here's the core idea. OSINT is simply the collection and analysis of information that is already publicly available. That's the key. Think about a journalist researching a public figure. They're just using news articles and public records. It's not about breaking into systems, it's about connecting the dots that are already out there for everyone to see. And this right here draws a critical line in the sand. On one side, you have OSINT. It's all about connecting public data points and making educated guesses or inferences. And on the other side, you have illegal activity. Let's be super clear. OSINT is not hacking. It's not breaking encryption, and it's not accessing private systems. That distinction, it's everything. You know, the absolute best way to think about OSINT is like you're putting together a giant jigsaw puzzle. Each little piece of public information about you is just a single puzzle piece. On its own, it might not look like much, but when you start putting them together, a picture starts to emerge. So where do these puzzle pieces even come from? Well, they're scattered all across your digital life. Your social media posts, your public bios, photos you're tagged in, comments you've left on forums, and yeah, even those old, forgotten accounts you haven't touched in years, they're still out there. And this is the key. A single tweet about your morning coffee, a photo from a vacation you took 3 years ago, by itself, that piece of data is weak. It's pretty much meaningless. It poses almost no risk at all. But here's where the magic happens, or maybe the danger. See, the whole goal of OSINT is to find the hidden connections between all that seemingly random noise. The second you start linking these random data points, they suddenly stop being random. They form clear, coherent, and honestly, often very predictable patterns. And what does that final, completed puzzle look like? Well, it's a behavioral profile. From all that public data, someone can figure out your daily routines, your personal interests, your social circle, your general location, or even your time zone. And they can even guess your level of technical sophistication, all without needing a single password. And this brings us to the real heart of the danger. It isn't about one single secret getting out. It's about the bigger patterns that emerge when all of our public information is looked at as one big picture. So, here's the crucial insight. We're all pretty careful not to post our passwords or credit card numbers online, right? The failure isn't that we're sharing secrets. It's that we're sharing the structure of our lives. Our habits, our schedules, our relationships. We are, without even realizing it, handing over the entire blueprint of our day-to-day existence. So how do these patterns actually form? It starts really simply. Maybe you reuse the same username everywhere. Boom, you've just linked your professional life to your gaming hobby. Then maybe you post a screenshot, but you forget that it shows your open browser tabs or the Wi-Fi network you're on. You tweet about your daily 8 a.m. coffee run. See, each action is a thread, and pretty soon, they're all woven together. And all of this leads to a really important conclusion. More often than not, a security incident doesn't begin with some sophisticated piece of malware that breaks through a firewall. No, it begins with simple, observable human predictability. Our own behavior becomes the starting point. Okay, so that's the problem. What's the solution? Well, the good news is this isn't about becoming a digital ghost and just disappearing from the internet. It's about adopting a new mindset. It's about learning to think defensively. So the goal isn't to vanish, it's just to reduce your signal. Here's a quick defensive strategy. Compartmentalize your life. Use different usernames for work and hobbies. Don't make it easy for someone to link your LinkedIn profile to your Reddit account. Do a vanity search. Seriously, Google yourself once a month and see what's out there. And before you post anything, just ask yourself, could this one little detail be one more piece in the puzzle? And always assume what you post is permanent.
And this quote just perfectly captures that defensive mindset. Privacy isn't some losing battle to become invisible online. It's the act of taking back control, of being mindful and intentional about what you share with the world. Finally, it's really important to understand that OSINT itself is just a neutral tool. In the hands of an investigator, it can solve crimes. For a journalist, it uncovers important stories. For a security professional, it helps defend systems. But like any powerful tool, its impact is defined entirely by the intent of the person who's using it.
So we'll leave you with this. You now understand the architecture of digital predictability, how all these scattered public data points can be assembled into a detailed portrait of a life. The only question left is, how predictable are you?